All right, y'all. Back for another one. I had to go had to stop the alarm from chirping. I had to reset it to make it stop chirping. All right, let me see what YouTube is looking like. And yesterday, the YouTube stopped early before the show actually ended on YouTube because I don't know. I guess because my time limit. I put it up for 3.5 hours and it stopped like at the 3 hour mark, before the 3 hour mark. Helping my dad build a new fence so I won't be able to watch that much or join the show today. Appreciate you, man, popping in. That's just as good. Salute to Leafy for coming through. Appreciate you, man. That's more than what a lot of people do in this so-called community. Appreciate you, man. Let me get this show started. Welcome back to episode 265. Yeah, 265. I'm about to hit 300. I'm about to hit 300. 265. Think I'm gonna start probably trying to do 2 shows in one day just to hit that number quickly. But yeah, shout out to everybody that support me. I'm about to finish off the my script that I was reading yesterday until Beast showed up, and then the show went to something else. Shout out to Beast and shout out to everybody that was on the show yesterday. Shout out Leafy was here. We had Crooks popped in, and we had the Burger. We had Burger in here. Shout out. The show was pretty good. Beast wasn't going on a tangent, or he wasn't like, really going after people. It wasn't as much as Beast usually would go. Beast was like really, I don't even want to say civil. Beast was just mellow, a little more mellow yesterday. And now he was trying. He was trying. Even though he don't do stuff to please everybody, he's trying. He know he has to do something to let the company see that he's worthy of being in their presence. Because a lot of companies, they fear him. From my experience in my conversations, they Beast is like a loose cannon. From my conversations. All right. Let me finish reading. So, third party survey. I know Aaron likes laugh. He gonna laugh when he hear this. Yeah, third party survey. Why not support? I'm at this. This is a continuation of a structured interview between Poe and SCI owner Ash Habib, and I want y'all to share this. This is on my blog. Share it as much as you can on all your social medias, please, and ask your followers to share it. Please, please, let me interview Ash. Listen to my questions. These are some great questions. All right, third party survey. Why not support a third party boxing gaming survey? Let me see. SCI has talked about feedback, but feedback collected through Discord, content creators, selective communities, or internal surveys can be framed. They can be framed. I know this. How do you know this, Poe? How do you know these things, Poe? Ask yourself that. How do I know these things? A third-party survey with public results would show what fans actually want. So why question? So no. So my question is: would SCI support a serious third-party boxing video game survey with public results? And my follow-up question to that is: if not, why? If SCI is confident in its direction, why not let the fans speak through clear data? Why not separate casual fans, hardcore fans, and online players, offline players, career players, and sim players? Why not let the data kill the argument? Content creators and media. Question 15. Do you think game media and content creators have asked you the hard questions? Do you think game media and content creators have asked you the hard questions? A lot of interviews feel too soft. They ask about features, not really. Excitement, future plans, and broad lessons learned. But they do not press hard on missing systems, consumer trust, marketing language, fan direction, and whether the product truly represents boxing. So I want to ask, do you believe SCI has been seriously challenged by media, or has the studio mostly received safe interviews? My follow-up question. Would you sit down with hardcore critics who know boxing and gaming, not just creators who are happy to be in the room? Would you answer questions from people who support the original vision but are not satisfied with what Undisputed became? Let me see what anybody pop in the let me see. All right, just Leafy. Shout out to Leafy. All right. Why is what is one thing you believe SCI got wrong? Not because of fans, not because of budget, not because of pressure, but because SCI made the wrong call. This is important because accountability cannot always be external. So I want to ask, why did SCI, what did SCI get wrong? Not what fans misunderstood, not what was hard, not what the team learned, not what the market demanded. What did SCI get wrong? My follow-up to that is, how will Undisputed 2 prove that lessons was truly learned? All right, then that was the end of that, but I got more questions I added on just for the show. So, did SCI overpromise what Undisputed was going to be? Before I even read anymore, I don't think they overpromised. I think Ash hired the wrong people. I think Ash hired the wrong people. For one, they should have never questioned what he wanted. They should have made it and made it better. They should have made it and made it better. Don't question what he says. He's the owner. Y'all came into the studio like y'all owned the studio, like it was y'all studio. That's why I say everybody shouldn't come in your house and get comfortable, because they start taking over immediately. All right. Did SCI overpromise what Undisputed was going to be? When ESBC was first shown, Many fans believed they were supporting a serious, realistic boxing game. The messaging created expectations around realism, simulation, authenticity, and a new standard for boxing games. I know I threw authenticity in there, but it was surrounded by other words. When you got realism and simulation added on with that authenticity, they can't deny realism and simulation. But he's saying authenticity, and that's a deceptive word in the gaming industry. So my question is, did SEI overpromise what the final product could realistically deliver? My follow-up to that is, looking back now, do you believe the early marketing was too ambitious? Were fans wrong for expecting a deeper boxing simulation, or did SEI create that expectation? They created that expectation, and to me, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. It helped them get over 1 million views. It helped fans buy the game. I don't care what these casual fans or these content creators say. What we saw ESBC as is what attracted us to it. Because there were a lot of upstart games that get fans. If fans wanted a boxing game, they would have supported them. Why didn't fans support Love C Shorty game the way people keep saying? Well, it was the only boxing game out in years. So everybody, nah, that's not what it was. It was what they advertised. Question 18. Was the shift from ESBC to Undisputed a creative shift, a business shift, or both? The game did not change names. It felt like the game changed identity. So I want to ask, was the change from ESBC to Undisputed only a brand change, or did the gameplay vision change too? It did. He didn't even got to answer that. It did drastically. And my follow-up to that, did the name change come with pressure to make the game more commercially safe? I'm 100% sure that's what happened. And follow up to that, did the game become less sim-focused after outside partners, publishers, investors, or new hires became more involved? 100%. And nobody cannot tell me that's not what happened. It's nothing they could tell me. It's nothing they could tell me. Stevie Wonder can see that. Ray Charles can see that. They could tell us all day, and the content creators defend them. If Ash was to come on here and tell us the 100% truth, content creators going to say, no, he's just saying that. He don't know what he's talking about. They literally be saying that. He said the game is broken, but he knows that people are so hypnotized, they're going to still defend the game. They're still defending the game after he said it's broken, and nobody's challenging that or saying anything about it. It's like he said the game is broken, and every time they add stuff, you know, all these different things, and everybody goes silent. Their thing is, if we say anything, we're not going to be content creators. You have more power than what you think as a content creator. A content creator can make or break a company, especially if all of them say the same thing. Especially if all of them say the same thing. Why were fans not clearly told when major systems were no longer coming? Why were fans not clearly told when major systems were no longer coming? Fans still had expectations. They're going to fix their clinching. They're going to fix the inside fighting. They're going to fix this. They're going to fix that. They're not going to have that the movement system, that loose foot movement. That's not going to be for everybody. I said it in the video with the content creator event. He made everybody have that so it can be fair. Boxing is not fair. He said he couldn't let certain boxers have certain things. He took away certain things from what's his name? Fundora. Made it easier to fight Fundora. Fundora is tall. You let the people think. You're not letting people think. You're part of the problem. Let people think. Every other game is strategic. And people, they fell. But they learned those strategies to win. But you're holding people's hands. And you're dumbing down the game. The core game should not be dumbed down. That's what options is for. It's like y'all like really in y'all brain, like y'all, I'm like, y'all, where is y'all intelligence? Where is y'all intelligence? Options. Options will sell your game more. Options will sell your game more. Sliders will sell your game more. You will thank me later, but y'all will not thank me. For some strange reason, we cannot thank people like Poe. And my thing is just saying, hey, thank you, Poe. This is all right, they're Poe. But y'all feel like y'all got to give me something. I'm on record saying I don't want anything. I didn't even want to be in the game. But when you promised me to be in the game more than once, I said, are you sure? Yeah, Poe, you're going to be in the game. And then you didn't do it. Then there became a problem with me because I hate for somebody to promise me something and don't keep up with that promise. Yeah, you don't owe me nothing, but you owe me something because you kept saying it. You kept saying it on paper. No, you don't owe me anything. And technically, even on paper, I feel that you don't owe me anything. But when you kept saying it, I kind of looked at Ash at one point as a respectable person. And I used to defend him. A lot of people said, oh, Poe was always against Ash. No, y'all know better than that. A lot of y'all content creators be saying that because it's y'all thing is, if we get Poe out the way, it leaves more room for me. And that's sad. That is sad. It's very sad. It's like y'all need help. Let me see. All right. Why did SEI not communicate more clearly when certain boxing systems were delayed, reduced, or removed? They did not tell us that. They did not tell us that until it became evident. It was evident in the gameplay or vision. People start seeing it. And you know what start happening? When they start taking things out, the game start rubber banding. It start rubber banding. How do Poe know these things? Yeah, like I'm 5 years old or 2 years old. Yeah, like I'm 5 years old or 2 years old. Was SEI afraid that being honest will hurt sales? Was SEI afraid Being honest where it sells. The heck? Got a fly here. That's weird to me. Fly up in here. Now I'm gonna be on a hunt with that fly because let me see. Was SCI afraid that being honest would sell? All right. Should customers have known before buying that certain systems were not going to be in the game? Should customers have known before buying that certain systems were not going to be in the game? They weren't going to tell us because they know we weren't going to buy. And that's going to happen with Undisputed too. They're not going to tell us anything. Their thing is they want us to, hey, they're going to add this, they're going to add that, they're going to add this. My thing is I'm waiting to see what the game has in it. I'm not going to say the game is this and that without planning or knowing what it is. I'm not going to boost the game up. And remember, Steel City. And remember to the other content creators, I am a content creator. No matter how much y'all have set me in the fold or not, because I see that y'all really do not see me as a content creator. Y'all really don't pull me into the fold. Y'all really don't pull me in the fold. Y'all see me as an outsider trying to get in. But like I told you, I don't care about this content stuff. But out of respect, y'all could say, Poe mentioned me at least once or twice in conversation. Y'all do not mention me. Y'all see me as an outsider. And I feel, and I hate talking like this, but it makes me angry. It makes me angry, but not angry enough to like get overly excited about it. But my thing is, it's like y'all feel like I'm sort of a threat by mentioning my name. Because if I wasn't a threat, it's like easy for y'all to put my name out there. What am I gonna do? My name, y'all mention me about anything. What is that gonna take from you? Me and Beast has two different approaches. I don't talk like Beast. Yes, I'm critical. Yes, I'm very critical. And that is not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. I'm not talking about their mothers. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about I'm going to choke somebody out or anything like that. I don't say these things. But y'all like it's a problem for somebody to be critical or having a being able to critique things. I see Sean Porter. I see what's his name? I forget his name that quick. But I see these guys when they look at the game, they know something wrong, but they're thinking in their mind, how do I critique this? I'm there for y'all. I boxed, and I know what and y'all know what boxing look like, and y'all looking at it like that don't really look like boxing. Even if a person not boxing the way a boxer is supposed to box, it still should look a certain way. Because the boxer should almost have the upper hand if he's using the right techniques. Yeah, a person that don't know how to box can crack you because you're not really paying attention or he's doing something unorthodox. But I see boxers, I pay attention. A lot of people don't pay attention to the things I pay attention to. That's what I call boxer and trainer eyes. You're paying attention to everything. Y'all don't pay attention to everything. Y'all might be looking at the boxer. I'm looking at what they're looking at. I'm looking at what the boxer's looking at. I'm focusing on their reaction, their response. And when they look at Undisputed, they're looking at it, that don't look like boxing, but I don't know what to really say to sound like I know what I'm saying. And my thing to these boxers, if y'all ever watched this video, just say it. It doesn't look like boxing. it doesn't have my move sets correctly. That's not his move set. That's what we need people to do. We need boxers to speak up. We need people in boxing to speak up. We need more people like me and Beast. I know y'all hate me lumping myself up with Beast, but we need more people that speaks about boxing. I'm not alienating anybody, but we need more people to speak about boxing. We need people, and this I know this is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. We need people to have passion about boxing, a boxing game, the same passion they have about UFC 6 or UFC game. It's not the same passion. I could show you all the content creators, that's playing UFC now, and you put a video right next, side by side, with how they respond to UFC and how they respond to boxing. It's not the same enthusiasm. And me, when I see the UFC game, it does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. I'm being honest. It does nothing for me. I'm not even, I like glanced at a couple of videos. It does nothing for me. And I see things, but I'm not going to talk about it because people are going to think I'm hating on purpose. But no, I see some good things and I see some bad things nobody's really talking about. Because that's what they love. And that's the problem. You love something so much, you accept the flaws. I see things, animation, like jerky animation. I mean, slow, like you see it doesn't flow as smooth as it should go. That's what I see. But I'm not going to speak on that because people going to come on here with the torches and stuff. What's up, Harvey 45? What's up, Precisely? Yeah, let me see, of course. Harvey 45 said, "What's up, Lamont Davis? Salute." Let me see. Harvey 45 said, "If ESB had at least one good single review, I would abort a PlayStation 5 years ago just for the game." Exactly. A lot of people. I was playing on my son. I was playing the Undisputed. I mean the ESBC game. I mean, well, the game that we got in early access. I was playing on my son's game computer. And I said, I'm about to buy me a PlayStation. But as I start seeing the game more and more, I see all the mistakes in it. I start seeing all the mistakes in it. And I said, nah, I can't. If they start making the game better, but I start seeing them taking out more and more stuff. Everybody wasn't noticing that. I see, that's the thing about when people got an eye for certain things. They start seeing things being removed. Other people, they don't pay attention to it. They accept it. Once they said, oh yeah, we're working on the clinching. We're working on the referee being in the ring. They put a janky referee in the ring and say, oh, see, it's messing up. That was on purpose. They was doing that on purpose. It can be done easily, but they didn't want to work on that. The clinching, the inside fighting, they didn't want to work on that, but they promised us to keep us buying and accepting what they said. They kept us buying and accepting what they were saying. All right, let me see. Why did SCI not communicate? Let me see. I read that. All right. All right. The first game defense. This is something I got to get on. These are questions that if Ash let me interview him, but being that he might be listening to the show or somebody from Steel City listens to the show, they're gonna be like, yo, I don't think Ash should be answering them questions, or Ash should let Poe interview him. And I'm gonna put it this way. Ash, if you think my questioning is too much, I would adjust it a little bit, but not too much. I'm not with that soft stuff. I'm not with that soft stuff. And it's not being aggressive on anything. There are genuinely respectful questions. The first game defense. Why should this is our first game excuse decisions made by inexperienced people? Why should this is our first game excuse decisions made by inexperienced people? Ash, one defense often used is that Undisputed was SCI's first game, but SCI was not made up only of beginners. The studio had experienced developers. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. A lot of people start repeating stuff without doing their research. That first 50 I'm not talking about aimbot and the 3 developers that like started out the game. It was like 3 or 4 developers. When they got to the point where they were like really like established, like a year after, 2 years after, they had over 50 developers. Over 50 developers. SCI was not made up of only beginners. The studio had experienced developers, industry hires, and publishing support. And this is my thing. How do you know, Poe? How do you know that they had experienced people? Because I sent them 5. I sent them 5. I know for a fact there were, out of them 5 people that I seen, had over 8 to 10 years experience in the industry. So stop playing with me, y'all. So stop playing with me and stop giving Steel City excuses. Y'all keep accepting their excuses. It's like a abused woman keep going back to the same man over and over again, and he keeps saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna never do that again." Y'all keep accepting anything they tell you. Oh, they got EA, they got real developers now. They got experienced developers. They always have experienced developers. Aimbot by itself was experienced. Aimbot by itself had experience. Not major experience, but he was experienced. And there were people more experienced than him. So stop giving Steel City excuses. Stop giving Ash Habib excuses. Stop defending Will Kinsler. Stop defending Will Kinsler. Yes, it's Ash's company, but the game changed after he was hired. Ash respected Will for being in an industry. And that's what happened with many businesses. When you hire somebody with more experience, you tend to listen to them. When you hire people with more experience, you tend to listen to them. How do I know that? Because I was a businessman. I had a singer that was my business partner. I was listening to him. And you know what happened? It was a girl that he was dealing with. And I was giving her some more product. I'm not when I said cheesecake, because I make cheesecakes. I'm not using no code words or anything. I was making cheesecakes. I was making baked goods and stuff like that. And she used to come by and pick up my product. Pick up the cheesecakes and stuff. And she used to tell me, why are you depending on you spending your money? You're putting all your money into this company. What is he really putting into it? And he said, you know what? She said, you know what? We don't need to go through him. We don't need to. He's not doing anything. He just kind of getting you customers. And she said, I'm getting you the most customers because I work in a major office building. They love cheesecake. And I was going through her for a while. And then I started falling off because then his mother, because my wife family knows his they like grew up together and they were like family. And the mother was being involved and she was telling me, oh, don't give him money and stuff, don't do this, don't do that. Because I was like, yo, you gotta start chipping in, man. I'm putting my money in and I'm not really making my money back. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. I know y'all like that, but you went on went left real quick. No, my thing is how people get caught up into a company and they blame it on, it was my fault, yes, but it's also his fault. Why my business didn't fail, I just stopped doing it. I was going to stop doing it anyway because how does it look like me being a vegan selling cheesecakes? Now I know how to make vegan cheesecakes. So, I'm about to start my business back up. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. My thing is, we got to stop accepting excuses. We got to stop accepting excuses. Why should fans accept first game excuse as an excuse when experienced people were involved? I'll follow up to that. Were the experienced developers empowered to make boxing first decisions? I'll follow up to that. Or did the studio have experience in general game development, but not enough experience in boxing simulation design? I'm cooking today. I'm showing y'all how I chef it up. I'm cooking today. Did SEI underestimate how difficult a serious boxing game really is? These are the questions I want to ask Ash, which I know I'm never going to ask him, but hopefully he see the video and he just make a statement. Boxing looks simple to casual viewers, but is it one of the hardest sports to simulate? Footwork, distance, timing, rhythm, clinching, judging, stamina, damage, ring generalship, and styles all matter. So I want to ask, did SEI underestimate the complexity of building a real boxing game? I don't think they underestimated. I just think that it was the team. It was the team and people on the team. At what point did the studio realize boxing is deeper than punch animations and licensed boxing? They knew that coming in. I'm answering this, but I want ask and answers. They knew this coming into the game, making the game. My follow-up to that is, did SEI have enough boxing people involved in decision-making, not just marketing and motion capture? Hold up. Not just marketing and motion capture. Heavy on the marketing. Heavy on the marketing. No motion capture. Not heavy on the motion capture. Heavy on the marketing. I start calling the company a marketing company. The game marketed itself early. So to me, it wasn't no real reason to overly market the game. All right, boxing knowledge inside the studio. This question 19. Well, question 22. Who inside SCI had the boxing authority to say this does not look like boxing? This I got to talk about right now. Before even I'm answering this part. That's why Ash putting people in the studio and they're saying, "Yeah, I boxed." No shots at nobody. I mean, no shots at Jay Shep. But hey, anybody else, I don't care. Then they say CV box. That don't mean anything. That don't mean anything. What is he bringing to the table? What is he saying? What is he talking about? What does he help doing? Nothing. You can tell by the product. You could tell when CB came there and when ESBC was the game that ESBC was. A lot of fans felt the final product moved away from the boxing logic shown in the early ESBC vision. So I want to ask, who inside the studio had the power to challenge gameplay decisions from a real boxing perspective? Were boxers, trainers, referees, judges, and boxing historians involved beyond surface consultant? Did they have decision-making power, or were they just used for feedback after decisions were already made? Someone was used after feedback, after decisions already made. I see that stuff. I saw that stuff. I was saying it. I was saying that. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. My friend that been playing boxing games since Ring Kings deleted the game after only a few minutes. The game was free from and used PS5. Exactly. A lot of people they're tricking themselves into it's a psychology thing. And I tell y'all I love psychology. It's a psychology thing. They love boxing and they feel, hey, if we trick ourselves into liking this game, they're going to continue with this series. But it's not going to get better. If you're not critiquing them, the game is not going to get better. Just because you can play a broken game does not mean it's a great game. It's a fighting game. You know how to play fighting games, so you're playing the game like a fighting game. You're not forcing them or telling them, hey, make it more realistic to boxing. It plays like a fighting game. And I hear people saying, I don't care what nobody says, it's a fighting game. No, it's not. No, it's not. An arcade fighting game and boxing are two different things. They play totally different. Do some fighting games have boxing in it? Yes. Yes. But it's not a fighting game. A lot of y'all be like having me. I'm like, yo, y'all serious. And y'all be serious like y'all know what y'all talking about. I could get a person off the street and we both, and I could put the money up. We both could train somebody. We both can train somebody. Neither one of them don't supposed to know anything. Give me a month with the person that I have, and you have a month with the person that you have. The person that I have will beat the brakes off your guy. He will beat the brakes off of your guy. And I'm guaranteed that. I guarantee you that. I don't care what you say or what I know me. I have confidence in my training skills as a person that box and trained people. I trained this guy. This is a story. It was funny. I trained this guy. I hate to bring race into it, but it was this white guy. It was him and a friend of his. They came to the gym, and they were saying that they were being bullied, and they need to learn how to box. So I was working with them. They start getting sharp. I was like, all right, look, white boy looking good. I said, hey, I'm training a white boy, and he looking good. He looking, sharp and everything. And I didn't see him for a month. I said, what's going on? Why these jokers ain't come? I said, I hate wasting my time training somebody and they stop coming around. So somebody that went to the school that they were going to, the high school they was going to, said, you know what? You know them guys you train? I said, yeah. He said, they're terrorizing the school. They're beating up everybody. I said, yo. And that, if people know how I am, for one, I usually wouldn't even have dealt with them anyway. But if they know how I am, like, yo, really? Like, yeah, they racist. He said they was racist. They was acting, they're acting class. They probably went to acting class because they had me fooled. And they said they was terrorizing people. I said, Dad. But I know they were, the way they was fighting, I know my skills up. I know when I train people. Even I worked with people in the gym that came in the gym and they have fights. They were good. Some of them I just knew from me reading psychology too. Some of them I knew in the gym that they could fight, but they just didn't have the heart. Some of them just boxing. Some people you gotta have the heart for it. No matter what you gotta have the heart from. Like in the gym, this is something I noticed. It was two guys in the gym. Peace and blessings to and may his soul rest. It was a guy in our gym named Raheem. It was Yusuf White. If y'all could look up amateur records and stuff, he had a lot of fights. He fought Mayweather in the amateurs too. He was one of the guys in that gym. He had a lot of talent. But we had another guy in the gym. Well, we had two other guys. Tariq Span. Look up the Spans. If y'all know boxing, y'all know the Spans. In New Jersey, he's part of that family. So he was good. He let the streets get a hold of him, but he was good. So then we had this guy named and my homeboy. He was my some people call him my sidekick, but I would never call him my sidekick. He was my partner because he stuck by me. Because when I was drawing and he loved what I was drawing, I remember when it's another story for another day. But he came to the gym and he started boxing. He was good at boxing. And he was dangerous. To me, he was more dangerous than the Raheem. Raheem had more experience like far as fights and stuff, but Biz had he could punch and he was real aggressive and he loved throwing punches. So he was dangerous. Raheem wanted to look pretty. He was a pretty boy. He wanted to be Floyd Mayweather. He was a pretty boy. Even though him and Floyd Mayweather was in that same age range. He liked it. Well, it wasn't he wanted to be like Floyd Mayweather. He was idolizing people like Pernell Whitaker and boxers that fight like that. And he real flashy. So when Tariq, my man Tariq, used to spar Raheem, he wouldn't really fight him. Like he let Raheem look good on him. When he fought Biz, the joker that would knock your head off, and he sparred like he fighting, he fought him like his life depended on it. They used to be throwing down. I'm like, Rick, why you don't spar Raheem like that? So it's a psychological thing. It's a psychological thing. And his heart was his heart about his heart didn't like within this. I don't. It just was a psychological thing. He see Raheem do all the extra things. Like I'd rather go all out with this guy, Biz, because he just throw to the wind, and with Tariq was a counter puncher. He was real methodical because my brother used to train him too. My brother spent a lot of time on him, and he was real methodical, and he was a counter puncher. Great, he was great. I wish he wouldn't have let the streets like get him because he was a good guy. He was a good fighter, and then it was like with me, it was Biz, and then I had Tariq, and Biz felt some type of way because Biz was my homie, and Biz, he went and did his own thing, and then I ended up with Tariq as my not my sidekick, but like my new little brother. So I guess that kind of like made the little war. All right, let me stop telling y'all stories and stuff. Let me tell y'all stories. Let me see where was I reading from. All right. Were boxers actually shaping the game, or were they mostly used for promotion? I think for promotion. I really think for promotion. In the beginning, not so much. SCI had access to boxers, trainers, and boxing personalities, but access does not automatically mean influence. So my question is, how much real influence did boxers have over the gameplay? Can you name one major gameplay system that was directly changed because of boxer feedback? I don't think they're gonna do that. Where boxers asked about movement, stamina, clinching, inside fighting, ring IQ, recovery, and damage are mostly animations and presentation. Question 24. Did SCI listen more to gamers than boxing people? And you know what a lot of y'all gonna say? They should listen to gamers. No, it's a sports game. It's a sports game. Yes, it's a game, but it's a sports game. When you listen to gamers, gamers, they're meant to automatically go to arcade fighting game. So I don't think they should listen to the gamers when it comes to a sports game, unless you are a sports fan and a hardcore, whatever sport it is. This is important because boxing games often get pulled towards generic fighting game logic, fast action, balance. Let me say that word again, balance, combos, metas, and online fairness can overpower real boxing logic. And this is what people keep saying. There's going to always be a meta in games. And after I finish this, I'm going to explain something to y'all. Metas is not always in game. It's the way the game is designed. When y'all keep saying there's always going to be metas, that's game logic. If they make the game for boxing, there will not always be a meta. There will not always be a meta. And I'm going to break it down to y'all. To the people say, bro, you don't know what you're talking about right now. All right. So I want to ask, did SCI prioritize gamer feedback over boxing knowledge? When boxing realism and online balance conflict, which side usually won? When boxing realism and online balance conflicted, which side usually won? Did SCI build a boxing game first or a competitive fighting game wearing boxing skins? Let me see so I don't forget. Let's see. All right, let me see. Gameplay identity. Why does Undisputed often reward volume over ring IQ? And real boxing output matters, but reckless output has consequences. A boxer who throws too much should fatigue, get timed, get countered, lose balance, level openings, and pay for mistakes. Leave openings and pay for mistakes. So I want to ask, why does the game still feel like volume and activity can overpower boxing intelligence? Will Undisputed 2 punish reckless punching more realistically? Will miss punches, block punches, and off balance punches drain stamina and create vulnerability? Question 26. Why does movement feel too loose for many boxers? Why do movement feel too loose for many boxers? One of the biggest complaints is that movement does not feel grounded. And boxing, feet matters, weight matters, balance matters. A heavyweight should not move like a lightweight. A flat-footed puncher should not glide like an outside boxer. So my question is, why does Undisputed movement often feel too universal? It is. Will Undisputed 2 have movement tied to style, weight, stamina, fatigue, foot placement, stance, and balance? Will boxers finally have realistic penalties for bad positioning and constant movement? Question 27. Let me see what y'all send in the chat before I go on. Nothing. Let me see how many people here. All right, I got 5 people here. All right. Why is stance switching not punished enough? Why is stance switching not punished enough? In real boxing, switching stance is not a magic button. It requires skill, timing, balance, and training. Not every boxer can do it comfortably. So I want to ask, why can so many boxers switch stances without enough penalty? Will stance switching and Undisputed 2 be tied to boxers' traits, training, footwork, balance, and ring IQ? Will bad stance switching create openings, slow reactions, reduce power, or defensive mistakes? Question 28. Why does damage not always feel connected to clean boxing logic? Why does damage not always feel connected to clean boxing logic? A boxing game should reward clean punches, timing, accuracy, counters, openings, fatigue, accumulated damage, and defensive mistakes. So my question is, how does SCI defend damage logic? Is damage based mostly on numbers and animations, or is it tied to timing, punch type, balance, vulnerability, fatigue, accuracy, and defensive responsibility? Will Undisputed 2 make clean, well-timed punches matter more than spammed combinations? All right. AI problems. Why does CPU AI still not feel like a real thinking boxer? Why does CPU AI still not feel like a real thinking boxer? Hardcore offline players need CPU boxers who can adjust, set traps, fight cautiously, take risks, protect leads, survive when hurt, press when behind, and fight according to their identity. So I want to ask, why does the CPU AI still fight limited compared to what a boxing simulation needs? Will Undisputed 2 have true adaptive AI? Will the CPU understand round context, scorecards, fatigue, cuts, reach, style, matchups, and opponent tendencies? Will AI boxers have long-term tendencies, or will they only react moment to moment? There is a difference between reactive AI and identity-based AI. A real boxer should have habits. Some start slow, some panic under pressure, some coast after building a lead, some chase knockouts, some fight dirty, some freeze when hurt, some adjust late. So my question is, will Undisputed 2 give CPU boxers real long-term tendencies? Will tendencies be edible? Will an editable, not edible, editable? Will created boxers have the same depth as licensed boxers? I got to read that again. Will created boxers have the same depth as licensed boxers? Will offline players be able to build entire boxing worlds with different fighting personalities? That's what I want. Did SCI hire or consult the right kind of AI people? That's what I want to know. A boxing game needs more than general game AI. It needs sports simulation AI, tactical AI, animation aware AI, stamina aware AI, and identity driven AI. So I want to ask, does SCI understand that boxing AI is not just enemy AI? That went over a lot of y'all head. Does SCI understand that boxing AI is not just enemy AI? Went over y'all head again. All right. What kind of AI design philosophy is being used for the next game? Is the goal to make CPU fighters challenging or to make them box like themselves? Those are not the same thing. Those are not the same thing. Online versus offline. Did online balance hurt the realism of the game? Did online balancing hurt the realism of the game? Many sports games become less realistic because online balance takes over. Developers start tuning everything around fairness, meta control, and competitive complaints. So my question is, did online balancing pull Undisputed away from realistic boxing? Did SCI ever separate online tuning from offline simulation tuning? Will Undisputed 2 have separate gameplay tuning for offline sim players and online competitive players? I don't think so, because when I say authenticity, that means it's going to be it's going to be set up just for online and offline. They both buy the same thing, and that's sad. Why not let online players choose contract rules before a fight? I'm giving y'all ideas. Why not let online players choose contract rules before a fight? Instead of forcing one version of boxing on everyone, why not have rules? Contracts. Example: sim stamina or arcade stamina, strict referee or loose referee, clinch enable or disable, realistic damage or competitive damage, 12 rounds or shorter fights, flash knockdowns on or off, doctor stoppages on or off. So my question is, why not let players agree to the boxing rules before the fight starts? Would SCI consider an online contract system that lets players choose their experience instead of forcing one universal balance? Why are offline players expected to accept online compromises? Offline players are not running or not ruining everyone's ranked mode. Offline players are not ruining everyone's ranked mode. They should be allowed to customize realism, stamina, damage, AI, referees, clinching, cuts, and career difficulty. So I want to ask, why should offline players be limited by online players' concerns? Will Undisputed 2 fully separate offline options from online restrictions? All right, let me see what y'all saying in the chat before I go on. How many people here? All right. Appreciate everybody that's showing up and they listening in the background. I appreciate y'all. All right. Career mode. Why was career mode not built like the heart of a boxing game? Why was career mode not built like the heart of a boxing game? For many boxing fans, career mode is the game. Boxing is built on careers, records, promoters, managers, rankings, belts, gyms, rivalries, layoffs, injuries, tune-ups, robberies, mandatory challengers, and title politics. So my question is, why did career mode feel limited instead of being treated as the main boxing ecosystem? Will Undisputed 2 have a real boxing? Will Undisputed 2 have a real living boxing world? Will CPU boxers fight each other, age, move up and down weight classes, protect records, take tune-ups, duck fights, chase belts, and retire? And this is what people fail to realize. And my thing is, you should be able to tune the experience you want in your gaming world. But as default, I think there should be boxers that trying to protect their O. There should be boxers that's trying to protect their O, like the boxer, like the CPU boxer. He's not fighting certain boxers, but you might give him a contract or give him something that make him fight you. You know, stuff like that. That's how the world should look. The ecosystem should look. There should be boxers that take certain fights, and certain fights they might have a chance they might lose, or they might have these easy fights that they can win, that they're supposed to win. So that's how the ecosystem should look. But you got people that know he should fight this person and his record should look this way. No, if in the world, if it got that there's something in the way he's made up that he doesn't take certain fights, or his promoter or whatever don't let him to have certain fights, that's how the world should look. You know, hey, if you want a real world experience, you should have that option. That's why I say options is very important for a game. Well, Undisputed 2 have real promoters, managers, and trainers systems. Boxing is not just what happens in the ring. It is also business, politics, matchmaking, negotiations, hype, protection, risk, and career strategy. So I want to ask, will Undisputed 2 finally treat boxing like an ecosystem instead of just a fight generator? Will Undisputed 2 finally treat boxing like an ecosystem instead of just a fight generator? And we should have that option as a fight generator. That's the option we want. But I think there should be an ecosystem. Will promoters have personalities? Will managers affect career paths? Will trainers affect development? Will gyms matter? Will rankings and sanctioning bodies create real pressure? Questions I want to ask Ash. Question 37. Will amateur boxing ever matter? I know a lot of people like this question. Will amateur boxing ever matter? A true boxing career does not have to start at the top. Some players want Golden Glove style paths, Olympic paths, regional circuits, amateur development. So my question is, will SCI ever build an amateur to pro career path? Not no 5 fights, not no 7 fights, nothing like that. We want real career paths. Will players be able to start young, build a style, gain experience, and enter the pros with a record and reputation? Enter the pros with a record and reputation. Sequel accountability. Why should fans buy Undisputed 2 instead of waiting? These are questions I'm going to be asking Ash Habib. Why should fans buy Undisputed 2 instead of waiting? I'm going to wait. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm going to wait unless I literally see something. If we have early access, if I see something in early access, or even though I'm going to feel like, hey, we played early access before and we didn't get the game that we were promised. But I got to see something. All right. After Undisputed 1, many fans may say, show me first. They may not trust trailers, creative previews, or promises. So my question is, why should fans buy Undisputed 2 at launch? Will SCI release a public demo? And demos a lot of times are not the game that you get. demos could be a game they've been worked on for probably a year or two. And the game changed drastically from that demo. But will SCI also will SCI allow unfiltered gameplay impressions? Will SCI show full matches, not edited trailers? Not edited trailers. A lot of them trailers we were getting, they were edited. You could tell a lot of that stuff was edited. All right, question 39. What proof will SCI give before asking for money again? What proof will SCI give before asking for money again? Hardcore fans do not want another promise cycle. So I want to ask, what proof will SCI provide before launch that Undisputed 2 is actually deeper? Will you show the full settings menu? Will you show sliders? Will you show CPU for CPU? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Me personally, CPU versus CPU. That would tell me more than what people will think. CPU versus CPU will tell me a lot about what the game is. But that goes over a lot of people's head that don't know game development. CPU versus CPU shows me a lot of what the game is. Will you show career mode systems? Will you show referee behavior? Will you show clinching and inside fighting? Will you show AI adjustments over a full 12-round fight? Question 40. Will SCI publicly list what Undisputed will not have? Studios love showing what is in the game, but after Undisputed 1, fans also need honesty about what is not in the game. So my question is, will SCI clearly tell fans what features will not be in Undisputed 2 before launch? Will you commit to not letting fans assume missing systems are coming if they are not actually planned? All right, question 25. Updates, roadmaps, and communication. Why did communication become so quiet? Fans supported the game through early access, launch, criticism, and disappointment. Then communication felt limited and controlled. So I want to ask, why did communication with the community become less direct? Was the silence because of technical problems? Was it because the studio have moved focus to the sequel? Was it because the criticism became too uncomfortable? Was it because there was no clear path to fix the base game? I think the last two is major. All right. Question 42. Does Undisputed 1 still have a future? No. That was made clear. I can answer that for you. Many fans wanted to know whether Undisputed 1 is still being meaningfully supported or whether it has already been left behind. So my question is Undisputed 1 still a priority, or is it basically a bridge to Undisputed 2? Will major gameplay systems still come to Undisputed 1? No. Or should fans accept that the first game will never become what ESBC was expected to be? All right. Was the game too broken to keep adding content? Yes. Some fans believe the foundation of the game made it difficult to add more systems without breaking other parts of the game. I said that. So I asked I want to ask directly. With Undisputed Foundation too limited to support the boxing system fans wanted, the SCI reached a point where adding major features became technically risky. Is that why the sequel is being rebuilt instead of deeply fixing the first game? Engine and rebuild. What does new engine or rebuild from ground up actually mean? Game companies use phrases like new engine and rebuild from the ground up all the time. Sometimes it means a true technical reset. Sometimes it is marketing language. So my question is, what exactly is being rebuilt for Undisputed 2? Animation systems, AI systems, physics, career mode, movement, damage, networking, creation suite, referee logic, or is it mostly a visual and infrastructure upgrade? What lessons from Undisputed 1 are being built into the foundation of Undisputed 2? I don't want nothing. A sequel should not be more content. It should fix the root problems. So I want to ask, what are the top 5 foundational mistakes from Undisputed 1 that will not be repeated? Please separate marketing mistakes. And I hear that a lot. Marketing. I hear them say, we made mistakes in marketing. You're defending marketing and you're talking about marketing more. Please separate marketing mistakes, gameplay mistakes, technical mistakes, and community mistakes. All right, section 27, money, licenses, and priorities. Question 46. Did licenses boxers take priority over building boxing systems? I think not really. Licensed boxers matter, but licensed boxers cannot replace gameplay depth. And I think that's an excuse to give them, because your systems, you're building it's the boxer had nothing to do with what the game was. I don't care what anybody's saying. So my question is, did SCI spend too much energy selling a roster instead of building the boxing systems around the roster? Would the game have been better with fewer licensed boxers but deeper mechanics? And I'm gonna ask personally myself, no. As a boxing fan, no. I think they can have deeper systems with a lot of boxers. To me, that's an excuse to give them. Did the focus on roster marketing hide the missing depth? Yes. Yes. It started becoming intentionally. Did Muhammad Ali presence create expectation SCI could not meet? When a game has Ali, people expect greatness. They expect the sport to be represented. They expect movement, ring IQ, personality, style, and legacy. Muhammad Ali's presence was so evident in the game that all the boxers moved like him. All the boxers has his loose foot movement. That's how great his presence is. So I ask, did SCI use boxing legends to create trust before the gameplay was ready to carry that trust? Does SCI believe Undisputed truly represents legends like Ali at the level they deserve? I say no. Question 48. Will DLC come before fixing core gameplay again? Will DLC come before fixing core gameplay again? Fans do not want a game where new boxers sold while core gameplay systems remain weak. So my question is, will SCI commit to fixing core gameplay before pushing major paid content and Undisputed 2? What is the line between supporting the game and monetizing an incomplete foundation? What is the line between supporting the game and monetizing an incomplete foundation? Content creators. Oh, y'all about to get mad at me. Y'all about to get mad at me. Let me see. All right. I gotta make sure that it didn't kick off again. I don't see nobody talking in the chat, but I had to make sure. All right. Were content creators used as a shield against criticism? Now I'm gonna answer that yes. A lot of companies use content creators to create excitement, soften criticism. Yep, 100%. Nobody can tell me different. Nobody could tell me different as a content creator. Nobody could tell me different. And make assets feel like approval. And make assets feel like approval. So my question is, did SCI rely too much on content creators instead of direct accountability to the broader boxing game community? Did SCI rely too much on content creators instead of direct accountability to the broader boxing gaming community? Were creators chosen because they asked hard questions or because they help promote the game? Were the creators chosen because they asked hard questions or because they help promote the game? Will SCI invite critics, offline players, sim players, and boxing people into feedback sessions? Will SCI invite critics, offline players, sim players, and boxing people into boxing sessions? Into feedback sessions. Question 50. Why should fans trust creator previews if creators do not ask hard questions? Why should fans trust creators' previews if creators do not ask hard questions? Many creators' previews sound like marketing extensions. They rarely challenge the studio on missing systems, weak AI, shallow career modes, or whether the game truly represents boxing. So I want to ask, what value does creators' assets have if the creators are not pressing the studio? Will SCI allow creators to show raw footage, full fights, losses, bugs, weak moments, and unedited gameplay? Public testing. Question 51. Will SCI allow a real public beta before launch? A boxing game needs to be tested by different groups: casual, hardcore boxing fans, online players, offline players, career players, sim players, and actual boxing people. So my question is, will Undisputed 2 have a true public beta with transparent feedback collection? Will results be summarized publicly? Will results be summarized publicly? Will SCI separate feedback by player type? I doubt it. Will SCI show what changed because of the beta? I doubt it. Question 52. Give me a second, y'all. My son. Yes. Yes.
This is my favorite job.
What happened?
Someone said $10.
They what?
$10. So
A lot. I can't bring something. It's a new company. They test me. You know, test me all on. I don't want. All right, y'all, I'm back. Yeah, that was my son. My son worked for the parks, and I be getting mad at him because I be telling him because he's a big kid. He's big. He's not a kid, he's growing up, but he's big, and I be saying, stop accepting everything people give you, especially in the park. Scientists, that's where scientists go to find test subjects. And he said, yeah, it's this new company. They got a collaboration. They had a drink, and they let me taste it. I'm like, yeah, you fat. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but you heavy, and they look because you ain't gonna turn it down. Everybody in the studio, everybody at the company probably turned it down. No, I ain't drinking that or stuff like that. Stop being people. I tell them stop being people test subject. Stop letting people stop eating everything that people get. I raised them better than that. He used to do it until he got older. All right, let me get back to this. Let me see. Anybody popped in here? Salute E-Boxing Champions. Appreciate you, man, coming through. Let me see. Will SCI let hardcore sim players test the game without filtering them out? Will SCI let hardcore sim players test the game without filtering them out? I'm talking about like literally test game, test the game. Sometimes studios invite fans who are excited but not critical. That creates feedback. That creates a feedback bubble. So I want to ask, will SCI invite the strongest critics into testing? Will people who criticize Undisputed 1 be allowed to test Undisputed 2? Or will access mostly go to friendly content creators and controlled communities? The boxing standard. Question 53. What does SCI believes a boxing game must have before calling itself realistic? This is a standard setting question. So I want to ask, what systems are required before a boxing game can honestly call itself realistic? Is clinching required? Is inside fighting required? Is referee interaction required? Is stamina realism required? Is boxer specific AI required? Is CPU versus CPU required? Is realistic damage required? Is deep footwork required? Is judging logic required? If the answer is no, then what does realistic even mean? If the answer is no, then what does realistic even mean? Question 54. Can a boxing game be authentic without simulation? Let me read this again. Can a boxing game be authentic without simulating boxing uncomfortable parts? Boxing is not just clean punching. Boxing includes clinching, fouls, roughhousing tactics, fatigue, boring rounds, filling out rounds, ugly fights, controversial decisions, cuts, swelling, cautious champions, spoilers, survival tactics. So my question is SCI willing to simulate the parts of boxing that casual fans may not always find exciting? And this is my thing. When people say something not exciting, you're in control of that. When you're in a boxing match, you're in control of that. So y'all need to cut that out. Or will those parts keep getting cut because they are considered too slow, too complicated, or too hard to balance? And that's the problem with balance. Who is Undisputed 2 really for? That's question 55. Who is Undisputed 2 really for? This is the question that needs a straight answer. Is Undisputed 2 for hardcore boxing fans, casual sports gamers, online competition players, content creators, or everybody? If the answer is everybody, how will SCI stop the game from becoming another compromised hybrid? What part of the game is specifically built for the hardcore boxing fan who wants simulation death? What part of the game is specifically built for the hardcore boxing fan who wants simulation death? This is my closing question. Are you willing to let the community judge Undisputed by systems, not promises? Are you willing to let the community judge Undisputed 2 by systems, not promises. Ash, fans have already heard the words authentic, realistic, balanced, passionate, boxing fans, community vision, and lessons learned. The next game cannot be judged by those words anymore. So my final question is, are you willing to let Undisputed 2 be judged by visible systems before launch? Not edited trailers, not interviews, not creator hype. Systems. Show the referee. Show the clinch. Show inside fighting. Show AI adjustments. Show computer versus computer. Show career mode. Show creation death. Show sliders. Show damage logic. Show stamina consequences. Show boxer identity. Show offline options. Show the full fight experience. Because this time, hardcore boxing fans are not asking for promises. They're asking for proof. All right. And let me see. Oh, yeah. All right, let me see. See y'all seeing in the chat. Nothing. All right. All right. Metas. All right. Metas will always exist. Well, this goes against what I was saying, and this is what I had a discussion, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Metas will always exist in boxing video games, whether the game is realistic, sim, hybrid, or arcade. But the important difference is this: a realistic sim boxing game should create boxing metas. Should create boxing metas. An arcade or bad hybrid game often creates exploit metas. Okay. So this and this my fault too. A realistic boxing game should create boxing metas. It should be metas because it's on you if you allow that meta to work to be as good as it is. But in arcade or bad hybrids, the metas are exploitative. That is the real argument. All right. What a meta really is. A meta is simply what players discover works best inside the rules and systems of the game. So if a boxing game has stamina, damage, movement, blocking, counters, judging, clinching, ring size, punch speed, and online ranking, players will always search for the strongest strategies. That part is unavoidable. Even real boxing has meta in a way. Certain eras favor certain tactics. Long jabs, southpaw hooks, high guards, Philly shell defense, pressure fighting, volume punching, clinching, fighting, behind reach, angles, body attacks, spoiler, and these are boxing metas. The issue is not whether a meta exists. The issue is what kind of metas the game rewards. In a realistic sim boxing game, the meta should still look like boxing. In a realistic sim boxing game, the meta should still look like boxing. A realistic sim meta might be using the jab to control distance, working the body early to slow movement later, clinching when hurt to survive, cutting off the ring instead of chasing, fitting to draw counters, fighting behind reach, making a volume puncher miss and peg, using footwork to create angles, boxing rounds with defense and clear counters, attacking cuts or swelling, choosing a style that matches your boxer's strengths. That is fine. That is not a problem. That is boxing. A boxing sim, a boxing sim boxing game does not remove the meta. It makes the meta respect boxing logic. In an arcade or hybrid game, the metas often become cheese. A bad arcade or hybrid meta might be spam the same punch because stamina does not punish it enough. Constant moves without footwork penalties. Abuse power punches because risk reward is broken. Use broken combos because block logic is weak. Pick only tall reach fighters because inside fighting is missing. Pick only tall reach fighters because inside fighting is missing. That's why Fundora is so effective. Run all fight because judges and stamina allow it. Switch stance with no penalty. Throw unrealistic volume because fatigue is too forgiving. Exploit animations instead of outboxing the opponent. This is where fans get frustrated because now the meta is not boxing strategy. It becomes gaming. And the system, because it becomes gaming, the system, because the system does not understand boxing enough. Realism does not eliminate metas, it disciplines them. A true system does not magically stop players from finding advantages. What it does is make sure every advantage has a realistic cost. For example, if you spam punches, you lose stamina, accuracy, balance, and defense responsibility. If you run all fight, you risk losing rounds, for lack of effective aggression or ring control. If you pressure recklessly, you walk into counters and fatigue. If you clinch too much, the referee warns or deduct points. If you switch stance without skill, your balance, defense, and power suffers. If you throw power all fight, you gas out and become easier to time. If you only headhunt, the opponent can defend high and punish the body openly. All right, excuse me. That is the difference. A sim meta should have consequences, counters, and trade-offs. The problem with hybrid games often try to please everyone. They want some realism, some arcade speed, some competitive balance, some accessibility, and some authenticity. See them two words? Authenticity. I say these two words in this sentence. Balance and authenticity. Now y'all see why I get all up in a rage when I hear them words. That can create the worst type of meta because the game is not fully committed to boxing logic. A hybrid may say, we want realistic boxing, but clinching is too slow. We want footwork, but movement has to feel free. We want stamina, but casuals hate getting tired. We want defense, but offense needs to feel fun. We want boxing identity, but everyone needs to feel balanced online. That is how you get a game where the metas become distorted. The game looks like boxing, but the winning tactics do not always respect boxing. The goal should not be no meta. That is impossible. The goal should be no single dominant exploit meta. A good boxing game should have many visible boxing metas. The outside boxing meta, the pressure fighter meta, the counter puncher meta, the body puncher meta, defensive technician meta, the spoiler clincher meta, the aggressive volume meta, the patient power puncher meta, the switch hitter meta, but only for boxers who can actually do it. The slick mover meta, but only if stamina, ring cutting, and judging balances it. All right. That is how you know the game has depth. When different styles can win, but every style has weaknesses. The strongest way to say it, metas will always exist. The question is whether the meta comes from boxing intelligence or broken game design. A realistic sim boxing game will still have a meta, but that meta should be built around realistic boxing, distance, timing, stamina, defense, ring generalship, clinching, judging, bodywork, footwork, and style matchups. An arcade or poor tuned hybrid often creates fake meta systems. Spam, animation abuse, movement exploits, unrealistic volume, broken punch tracking, and online cheese. So, metas are not only an arcade problem, but bad metas are usually a sign that the game is too arcade, too hybrid, too shallow, or not punishing unrealistic behavior enough. All right, let me see what y'all saying in the chat. What's up, Crooks? Salute. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to Crooks. All right. All right. When y'all asking me, why do I always talk about CPU versus CPU? CPU is extremely important in a boxing video game because it exposes whether the game is truly built on boxing systems or whether it is mostly built around user control, animation, and online balancing. For many hardcore boxing fans, CPU versus CPU is not just a watch mode, it is a measuring stick. It shows whether the game understands boxing when the human player is removed. CPU versus CPU shows if the game can box without the player carrying it. When a human controls the boxer, the player can hide a lot of problems. A skilled player can make bad footwork look better. A skilled player can avoid broken AI behavior or habits. And that's what's going on now. A skilled player can create realistic movement manually. That's what's going on now. A skilled player can choose not to exploit the game. Facts. But in CPU versus CPU, the game has to stand on its own. The AI has to jab, move, defend, adjust, manage stamina, respond to damage, understand distance, use ring IQ, fight according to styles without a human helping it. That is why I always say CPU versus CPU, because we will see if the styles are actually there and not the player acting like the style is there. That is why CPU versus CPU matters. It asks one simple question: can a game produce believable boxing by itself? If the answer is no, then the game may be fun, but it is probably not a deep boxing simulation. It reveals whether boxers have real identities. In a strong boxing game, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Canelo Alvarez, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Terrence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather style boxers, pressure fighters, counter punchers, swarmers, defensive specialists should not all fight the same. CPU versus CPU shows whether each boxer has true identity. You should be able to watch and notice. Ali liked movement and rhythm. Frazier liked pressure and body work. Wilder liked patience and sudden power. Canelo liked counters and body punching. Fury liked fence, size, awkwardness, and clinch control. A slick boxer uses distance. A brawler forces exchanges. A spoiler making the fight ugly. A young prospect making mistakes. A veteran conserving energy. If CPU versus CPU looks like two generic characters with different faces and ratings, the game has a boxer identity problem. That means the roster is mostly cosmetic. All right. It exposed weak AI immediately. CPU versus CPU puts the AI under a microscope. Can you quickly see if the AI, you can quickly see if the AI, those random combinations, failed to use the jab, does not understand range, does not cut off the ring, does not protect itself when hurt, does not clinch to survive, does not adjust when losing, throw too much with no stamina logic, back up for no reason, fights the same in round 1 and round 12, ignores shots, does not fight differently based on scorecards, does not understand styles. A human player can create the illusion of death. CPU versus CPU removes that illusion. If the AI is shallow, CPU versus CPU, CPU versus CPU will expose it. It proves whether the game has real style matchups. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. All right. It proves whether the game has real style matchups. Boxing is built on style matchups. Pressure fighter versus boxer. Counter puncher versus volume puncher. Brawler versus technician. Southpaw versus orthodox. Tall outside boxer versus short inside fighter. Power puncher versus defensive mover. Old veteran versus young prospect. CPU versus CPU versus CPU should show those different naturally. A pressure fighter should try to close distance. An outside boxer should try to control range. A counter puncher should wait, bait, and punish. A body puncher should invest downstairs. A defensive fighter should make the opponent miss. A puncher should look for moments, not just spam power. If every matchup becomes the same rhythm, same distance, same punch output, and same behavior, then the game does not truly understand boxing styles. That is why CPU versus CPU is a measuring stick. It tests stamina and pacing better than player-controlled fights. In many boxing games, stamina is tuned according to fun, not realism. In many boxing games, stamina is tuned around fun, not realism. CPU versus CPU throws whether stamina is believable over a full fight. You can watch and ask, do boxers slow down after throwing too much? Do body shots affect late round movement? Does missed punches matter? Does blocking too much drain energy? Does pressure fighting have a cost? Does constant movement have a cost? Does a heavyweight fight pace different from a lightweight fight? Does fatigue change punch speed, defense, accuracy, and footwork? If CPU fighters throw 900 punches every fight with no real consequences, the stamina system is not sim. It is arcade or hybrid. And before I go on, this is the thing that I'm looking at. The developers are letting the players decide what a boxer is. No, let the CPU versus CPU boxers let you decide what is the boxer accurately represented in the game. Then you play with their character. Why do I have to tell y'all these things? Because when you see CPU, say, yeah, he's fighting like himself and everything. Not you controlling the character. No, let the characters on the screen fight like, hey, he's fighting like Roy. He's acting like Roy in the game. He's controlling himself like Roy in the game. He's clinching like Roy in the game. not you controlling them. Because when players are not playing against another player, we want to be able to fight that boxer, and that boxer acts like that boxer, not a generic boxer that has some of the things that that boxer does. All right, a real boxing game should show pacing, fill out rounds, momentum swings, fatigue, conserve energy, late round danger, survival, urgent when behind. And that depends on the boxer. That's another thing. It depends on the boxer. All right. It reveals whether judging and scoring makes sense. CPU versus CPU is also important because it lets fans observe fight without emotional bias from controlling one boxer. You can watch the rounds and compare what you saw to what the judges scored. A good boxing game should reward clean punching, depending on the judges, effective aggression, depending on the judges, defense, judging, ring generalship, judging, body work, judging, control of distance, judging, damage, judging, round by round momentum, the judges. A weak boxing game may reward one punch volume, only punch volume, forward movement, or basic hit counts. That matters because but if judging logic is shallow, career mode and CPU results become fake. The game starts producing weird winners because the scoring system does not understand boxing. And that's what I be trying to tell people when a lot of people be looking at me sideways. It helps prove whether career mode has a real living world. It helps prove whether career mode has a real living world. CPU versus CPU is critical for career mode, universe mode, promoter mode, offline longevity. A boxing universe needs fights happening outside of the player. Contenders should fight contenders. Champions should defend belts. Prospects should rise. Veterans should decline. Upsets should happen. Styles should create surprises. Records should mean something. Rankings should move logically. Without CPU versus CPU, the boxing world feels dead. Everything evolves around the player. With CPU versus CPU, the game can feel like a real boxing ecosystem. You can watch your created prospect fight. You can watch a title eliminated. You can watch a rivals fight. You can watch a tournament. You can watch how your created universe develops. That gives offline players a reason to keep playing for years. That gives offline players a reason to keep playing for years. It exposes whether ratings actually matters. Yep. 100%. It exposes whether ratings actually matters. Ratings should not just be numbers on a screen. CPU versus CPU lets fans see if ratings translate into behavior. A boxer with high ring IQ should fight smarter. A boxer with high stamina should pace better. A boxer with weak defense should get hit more. A boxer with power should create danger. A boxer with poor composure should panic when hurt. A boxer with great footwork should control space. A boxer with poor discipline should foul, overreach, or make mistakes. If a 90 rated boxer and a 70 rated boxer behave almost the same, then the rating system is shallow. CPU versus CPU makes that obvious. It shows whether tendencies, traits, and AI are deep enough. It shows whether tendencies, traits, and AI logic are deep enough. This is one of the biggest reasons CPU versus CPU matters. A real boxing game needs more than attributes. Attributes say what a boxer can do. Tendencies say what a boxer chooses to do. Traits say what makes a boxer unique under pressure. I got to read that last one again. Traits make boxers unique under pressure. For example, a boxer may have high power but low aggression. A boxer may have great stamina but low punch output. A boxer may have good defense but poor composure. A boxer may have a great jab but only use it if his tendency systems tell them to. A boxer may be dangerous when hurt. A boxer may fade late. A boxer may start slow. A boxer may fight dirty inside. A boxer may protect a lead. A boxer may chase knockouts when losing. CPU versus CPU tests all of that. CPU versus CPU tests all of that. If the game does not have deep tendencies and traits, CPU versus CPU will look generic. It proves whether the game can create organic boxing moments. It proves whether the game can create organic boxing moments. The best sports games create moments that feel unscripted but believable. And boxing, CPU versus CPU should produce things like a boxer steals a close round late. A hurt boxer clinches to survive. A pressure fighter finally breaking through. A slick boxer controlling the first half but fading late. A champion making an adjustment after losing early rounds. A cut changing the fight. A knockdown shifting momentum. A tired fighter getting sloppy. A corner adjustment changing strategy. A boxer protecting a lead in the championship rounds. Those moments make a boxing game feel alive. If CPU versus CPU only produces repetitive exchanges, the game lacks organic boxing drama. 11. It matters for creators, leagues, and community content. CPU versus CPU also huge for content creators and boxing gaming communities. People can run fantasy cards, create boxing tournaments, promote leagues, CPU control universes, historical matchups, prospect showcases, title eliminators, community created fight nights, what if fights, AI versus AI career simulations. That creates content without needing every fight to be user control. For a boxing game, that is massive. Boxing already has a culture of debates. Who would win? CPU versus CPU lets the game become a sandbox for those debates. 12. It separates real simulation from controlled presentation. A boxing game, a game can make trailers look good. A game can make motion capture look good. A game can make screenshots look good. A game can make a player control fight look good. But CPU versus CPU is hard to fake. Why? Because the game has to cautiously make boxing decisions without a human director. That means CPU versus CPU exposes the foundations, AI quality, animation logic, stamina tuning, damage modeling, movement systems, style identity, scoring logic, defensive responsibility, ring positioning, pacing, adaptation. If those systems are weak, CPU versus CPU will show it. This is why hardcore boxing fans use it as a measuring stick. The strongest argument, CPU versus CPU matters because it shows whether the game itself understands boxing, not whether the player understands boxing, not whether the trailer looks like boxing, not whether the roster has famous boxers, not whether the marketing says authentic. The game itself. If two CPUs can fight a believable 12-round match with style differences, pacing, adjustments, fatigue, defense, ring IQ, judging logic, and organic drama, then the developers probably built a real boxing foundation. If two CPU look generic, repetitive, robotic, spammy, or controlled, then the game is not truly sim yet. Bottom line, CPU versus CPU is not just a feature. For hardcore boxing fans, it is a true test. It tells you whether the boxing game has real AI, real boxer identity, real stamina logic, real matchup, real judging, real career, universe potential, real offline depth, real simulation foundation, a real game without a real boxing game without CPU versus CPU can still be fun, but a boxing game that wants to call itself a realistic, authentic, or simulation level should not be scared of CPU versus CPU. Because if the game is truly built on boxing logic, it should be able to box even when the human puts the controller down. And that's a mic drop. That's a mic drop. A lot of people don't see what I'm talking about. What you mean she finished now? Oh, man. What's up, Leafy? Leafy back. Yeah, what you mean she finished now? Hold up. I forgot we was talking earlier. You sent us in. The fence finished. The fence is finished. Yeah, but I'm gonna start getting my shout outs. Shout out to Don D205. Appreciate you. I know you're probably in the shadows or you probably listening. How many people got here listening? Hold up. Did it stop? Did it stop again? All right. I don't know what's going on, but shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to Don D205. Shout out to Harvey45. Shout out to Precisely_1. Shout out to Lamont Davis. Shout out to E Boxing Champion. Shout out to Crooks the Great. Shout out to Leafy again. And shout out to, I say Lamont Davis. Shout out to Whistlers Mafia. Shout out to Papanosis. Shout out to Alabama. You know, shout out to everybody out there, you know, that support me. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Aram. Shout out to Aram. Shout out to AJ Pax. Shout out to JMMA. Shout out to Jay Shep. Ask him no questions. Ask him, Jay. Let me know. Ask him. Please ask him. Seriously. Ask Ash. You know, ask him. Ask him to read the questions at least. Maybe you can read my questions to him and let him answer them for you. You know, but yeah, shout out to everybody, man, that support the show. This is my Sunday show. You know, appreciate y'all, man, for coming through, sticking around for me. And I'm out. Peace.